music review from 1975, The Hissing of the Summer Lawns by Joni Mitchell. Joni's music has been described by critics as jazz fusion pop, folk rock, folk pop, folk. But whatever the label that critics try to attach to her music, for me, and I beg to confess that I don't listen to Joni's music frequently enough, for me, listening to her special style creates a mood of lying out in the garden in summer, absorbing the atmosphere, listening to the birds and looking at the beauty around me with possibly a glass of wine. Hissing of the Summer Lawns, well, again, I listened to it, and I have listened to it a couple of times, and it's 10 songs that need to be listened to repetitively. It's very easy for them to swim over you, and you get to the end and you think, that sounded good, but you can't remember any detail. So I have listened to it recently, and I've made a conscious effort to be much more proactive in my listening, and it paid off. Joni's a bit of a painter with words who requires you to give time to unravel the songs in your own way. Often her songs talk about women, about how they've been abused, how they've been marginalised, and the short straw that they routinely get. Also, she tackles the greed, the poisoning society in middle-class America, and the social issues that affect us all. She's a radical liberal, but certainly not naive. She arrived in the USA with barely a few bucks to get by, and her music kept her going. Of course, she had to give up her child to adoption because she couldn't afford to look after her, and that has had quite an impact, I think, on her music. So, what of the Hissing of the Summer Lawns? Let's take a listen, track by track. So, the opener. It's called In France They Kiss on Main Street, and what a beautiful song it is. It's a pop song with touches of jazz, but it creates such a beautiful mood of love and the sharing of love, very epitomizing the view that we often have of the French. There's some tasteful guitar from Jeff Skunk Baxter and Robin Ford, and some exquisite harmonies. She's got David Crosby, Graham Nash and James Taylor to help her out there. And the bass-driven song echoes Jaco Pastorius, more about him, of course, in future albums by Mitchell. He isn't, in fact, on this particular album. And so it's a sort of lovely, free and open song, and is a breath of delight, really. It's set in the 50s. It refers to rock and rolling, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. On to track 2, The Jungle Line. Now, this is a homage to the African drummers of Burundi, and it's a very, very odd piece of work. Joni plays Moog on it, and that's about it, Moog and drums. If you look at the cover, you'll see there's a large snake on the cover with a member of the drumming crew from Burundi, and it's mixed in with middle-class American houses. So I'm not sure quite what the message is here, but it's certainly an acquired taste. But you've got to acknowledge that Joni is a risk taker. Is Joni saying that being in the West has similar characteristics to being in the jungle? Maybe. On to track 3 now, Edith and The Kingpin, and this is soft rock jazz with a touch of strings. A word about the guitar. Larry Carlton creates a laid-back feel that's smooth and restrained. Joni's vocals soar in the middle, and Joe Sample steps in on electric piano. It's a beautiful piece of music. The quality continues with track 4. This is called "Don't Interrupt the Sorrow," and Ford plays dobro here with Carlton retained on guitar, and they mix together beautifully to create a mood. The music looks at women and empowerment, and the congas and acoustic guitar mix perfectly. And there's an occasional lead solo by Carlton, which is added at perfect intervals. On to track 5 then, Shades of Scarlett Conquering. A quiet piano intro by Joni. Vibes are added to blend in with a gentle melody, and the polished string arrangements are striking. And she's back in that garden. Well, I'm back in that garden with the sun shining for sure. The lyrics refer to a Southern belle desiring everything. There's a spacey outro which is smolderingly beautiful. To track 6, the title track, James Taylor is on guitar here, and there's some cool horns in the mix. Trumpet, sax and flute dip in and out of the mix. It's a tale of a woman being an extra chattel and somehow being consumed by material goods and losing sight of emotional fulfillment to gain wealth. One of the things that Joni often confronts in her songs about how women basically choose this path rather than choose themselves. On to track 7, the Boho Dance is Joni's dig at the commercialism of the music industry, eroding artistic creativity. There's more horns here serenading the listener. It's gentle, simplistic jazz with again Joni's voice caressing us. Great horns near the end. Make sure you look at the lyric sheets for this song and all of the songs actually to maximize your enjoyment. So on to track 8 now, Harry's House and Centerpiece. This for me was the standout track. It's nearly 7 minutes long, and it's a musical voyage in 3 parts. Harry's House opens with some neat trumpet and Joe Sample on keyboards. It's hauntingly beautiful, and Ford's guitar is exquisite. And then the trumpet launches into Centerpiece with punchy piano and soaring vocals. And it's reminiscent of jazz greats from yesteryear. Sweet Edison and John Hendricks previously wrote this number. It's wonderfully linked back into Harry's House towards the end. It's an awesome piece of music and my highlight. Track 9 is Sweet Bird. It arrives with a slow acoustic guitar and piano nursing its way to your senses. Joni's on piano, Carlton's on guitar, and he is such a good jazz guitarist. The echo work reminds me of Jeff Beck a little. The song is a Mitchell-Carlton duet, more like some of Mitchell's singer-songwriter material highlighted on earlier 70s albums. The final cut is Shadow and Light. It's lots of overdubs on this from Joni with an APR string machine and Farfisa. I'm not sure what that is. It sounded a little bit like a Moog. It's Joni in solo mood. It's a very challenging piece of work, and you will once again acknowledge what a risk taker this woman is. So it hints a little bit at gospel, and there's also a hint of progressive rock. I don't know where I heard that, but anyway, in conclusion, this album was described by Prince as the last album that he ever listened to all the way through. That's got to be a big compliment, and it is an outstanding piece of work. So, The Hissing of the Summer Lawns by Joni Mitchell.